Thanks for joining for another episode, everyone. This one's a special episode. We have a special guest, my beautiful wife, Joy. And we got a couple of really cool subjects that we wanted to touch bases on. And that's ladies getting involved in overlanding. It's becoming a big thing lately. It's when you go down south, especially south of the border, it seems like the majority of people who want to get out and have adventures are ladies. It seems to be a really big growing crowd. Something that's really come up a lot lately is the Rebel Rally. It's a lady-only event, and man, you know, it's pretty awesome to watch. It's a rally, and it really tests everybody's endurance. Very impressive. So my wife, introduce her here. She never used to be very much into camping or off-roading or anything like that. I guess her idea of camping was, I guess you could say, glamping?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, so, and over the last few years, I think especially since we were at the Northwest Overland Rally, I think it was 2019. 2019. We're at the Northwest Overland Rally, and we actually saw the Rebel Rally booth. And it was inspiring. How did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually know that I was talking to Rochelle at the time, but that's who I ended up talking to. And I bought a t-shirt, and I really liked the message, and they were all very positive. And when I expressed hesitancy, they were like, no, absolutely not. Everyone's welcome. Everybody can do this. And if you want to try. We'll be there to support you. So I really liked that message and sort of gravitated towards that positivity.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you ended up buying a shirt at their booth.
I did, and I got one of their keychain for my purse.
And what did the shirt say?
The shirt said, girls, how did that go? Girls...
Empower, was it?
No, it was women in power, but it was girls... Something basically along the lines that women empower each other. And the message being that that we don't have to just because we're rallying and we're, you know, maybe potentially in a bit of a race type scenario, that we are still supportive of each other. And that's a pretty phenomenal message because you know, we're all in this race together, and hopefully we can all get to the finish line together.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it was a good message, and I just really felt motivated by it.
Awesome. So very inspired by it.
I think so, yeah.
So there you go. Rochelle, you inspired somebody. It's really neat, though, to see where this has come, because you remember our first off-roading adventure.
It was a disaster in my mind.
Yeah, it was interesting. Let's put it that way. We had a red Jeep YJ, and we ended up going off-road, and all of a sudden we started hearing a little clang out of the motor, and it was like, hey, what's going on here? So one of the cylinders literally blew out of the bottom of the motor. Everything just came out. There's like pistons lying on the ground. It went in grand fashion. So that was Joy's first and only wheeling trip at the time.
For a while, for a long time.
For a very long time. It was a big adventure, and it was good, but it kind of turned you off a little bit.
Yeah, because initially I had said, hey, how sketchy is this ride going to be, and how safe am I going to feel? And I was pretty much told nothing bad could happen. And in my mind, that was the worst thing that could have happened, and I felt trapped, and we had to be towed back to civilization, and it felt like a much longer day. And yeah, I didn't really enjoy getting thrown out of the Jeep when it caught on fire, and so those things were a little bit frightening for a newbie.
So the Jeep, anyway, the motor went, and so Joy goes, well, what do we do now? So she starts packing up all of her gear.
Well, I needed my lip gloss.
Yeah, lip gloss and everything in a very ladylike fashion. And then all of a sudden, because all of the oil had spilt onto the manifold when the bottom of the block blew out, all of a sudden there's these big arms of flames that were reaching around the hood, over the hood, and go woof like this. And so at the time, the inside latch of the Jeep, and it's an old YJ, everyone's Jeep did it at one point or other, wouldn't open. So you had to roll down the window. And so she's busy, you know, getting her lip gloss and everything, and I was like, woof. I'm like, we gotta go now. So I reach across, I'm rolling the window down, I reach out, open the door, push her out.
Thank goodness there was 2 other ladies there to catch me.
It was quite an adventure. Some of the guys that were coming up to, you know, with fire extinguishers to help put the Jeep out,
Yes.
they were like, Jason, we've never seen someone unload a Jeep as fast as you can. Apparently I was just whipping stuff out of the Jeep and getting it all unloaded.
And throwing his wife out as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our first off-roading adventure, I guess you could say.
Together.
Together, yes. I had many off-road adventures since, but by myself.
Yes.
So that was until we hit the Overland Rally and saw the Rebel Rally booth, which kind of maybe started changing things a little bit. And
yeah, that, and there was a woman there, I can't recall her, I was really inspired by her too. She gave a class. She overlands all by herself with her dog. And she's been doing it a while at that time, and I was just really admiring that sense of, you know, self. And the fact that if there was any fear there, you couldn't see it because this woman was intending to travel the world the way she was doing it. And it made me rethink my fear of, you know, just even trail riding. These women are doing amazing things and what I would consider potentially hard. And they're doing it. So, hey, you know, I'm all about that, you know, grasping the power and moving with it if you can.
Very empowering.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see somebody who's out there setting that example, because in all honesty, if we didn't see the Rebel Rally booth at the Overland Rally and see the people that were out there enjoying themselves, doing what they wanted to do, we may not have gotten you out off-road a little more.
Possibly not, yeah. And I mean, these women have to learn mechanics, they have to learn navigation, and, you know, all those things that might seem a little intimidating, and they are intimidating, but they're not just intimidating for women, they're intimidating for anyone who's new. But try and try again. So keep practicing, so they say.
Absolutely.
So if, you know, there's that feeling of, oh, hey, if you guys can do it, I can do it. Or, you know, as a team, we could definitely do it. So, yeah, I think the fear itself kind of dissipated a little bit and more the interest started gathering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find it inspiring myself because for the longest time, it seemed like I'm a child of the 70s and the 80s. It's like, you know, the boys go out and play in the mud and the girls didn't.
That's right.
It was, you know, they kind of cleaned up and, you know, didn't want to go out in the mud. Not that I'm saying off-roading has to be all about mud, but that was kind of the general attitude that I came from. Grew up on a Texas Longhorn ranch. You know, I came home dirty all the time. I was riding quads everywhere. And it's really cool to see how opinions have changed and how women really want to get out there and adventure a lot more versus, you know, maybe where it wasn't a commonly accepted thing at the time.
Well, I think it's with anything. I mean, you know, whether it's in the corporate world or whether it's, you know, the blue collar type scenario, it's interesting and it's inspiring to see somebody different navigate and potentially break those ceilings open. But I'm of that same 70s and 80s childhood, and I hated getting dirty, and I still to this day hate getting dirty. So if I'm getting dirty, it's because it's for a real good purpose.
Absolutely.
and then I want, you know, my creature comforts. So, but yeah, it's fun to see, you know, you see more women doctors, more women lawyers, more engineers, and women getting into this community. They certainly can do it. I mean, so it's just nice to see a wider variety of representation in the off-road community.
So, the first time you drove off-road since that time, really? When was that?
So that would have been last year. It was sort of an accident that I was driving. I drove twice that day. The first time was because I felt that some of the vehicles in the back were getting behind, and ours was one. So I thought, I'm just going to catch it up. And it didn't seem like too big of a deal at the time, but I got it to a part where I was not very comfortable driving through. And then the next time I drove, there was a pretty steep hill, and I thought, well, I can handle a steep hill. I grew up in a community where 19% grade was pretty the norm.
Yeah.
So I thought, I can handle that. But when we got down to the bottom, that was a different story. It was a mud bog. And so my fear of driving off-road and my fear of being dirty, and I wasn't wearing clothes that felt very comfortable, in, a foot of mud, I had to kind of switch my brain into thinking of what was the lesser evil for me. And at that point in time, it was driving through the mud bog instead of getting out and walking through it.
Absolutely. And I was totally surprised the first time I seen you pull in, and you're like, no, I can do this. I can do this.
I was surprised too. But when I saw everybody standing there, and I thought, well, there's so many people around. They're going to help me navigate this. I'm not alone. I had a good partner beside me in the vehicle. I have to be able to do this.
So it's really cool. What ended up happening is, and I'll show a clip of the actual footage. So Joy starts going in, and keep in mind, there are a lot of people who are bottoming out, spinning their tires, kind of getting stuck and having to back up, and Joy goes in, nails it, absolutely nails it, just drives right on through like she's on a Sunday drive. But I
had good instructions, right?
This is true. Actually, Daryl, he was one of the guys that was helping her to instruct through. Really, really good help, giving her very good instructions.
And there was others there that were following the same advice. I wasn't getting conflicting messages from anyone. It was, keep your tire here, follow that line. It was consistent messaging. Absolutely. So that was helpful too. So somehow it worked. Yeah, it worked, and it worked really well. It was awesome. We had a great day. It was her real kind of true first time off-roading, and it was a blast. And it was an integration for sure.
Yeah, it kind of introduced you a little bit into the world of
heart pounding.
Yeah, that's always great. When you get your heart pounding like that, and then you feel like you've triumphed at the end of it.
Yeah.
So it was a really, really good day, and the cool thing is you were driving in the Jeep with Laisha.
Yes. Yeah. And Laisha has, at the time she had a different desire. Her desire was to climb mountains, and she was doing a great job at that. But she had at that time had a setback, and so I said, we're going to have a laid back day. Not a lot of excitement. We're just going to do a trail ride, because that's what I thought was happening that day. And she came, and we both experienced not a laid back day at all.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun trail.
She really enjoyed it, and since then she's bought herself a Jeep.
Yep.
She's flying past me in the trail riding and off-roading scenario. So
and it's a pretty neat Jeep. It's a new 2-door JL, and it's called the Crooked General. And it's got the 01 on the side, and
it's a dream come true, I think, for her in so many ways.
I think so.
A dream she didn't know she had.
So since then, we've actually gone on a trail run since she's gotten her new Jeep. That was out on the Lost Knife Trail.
Yep.
And she did amazing.
She did.
Absolutely. And the comment.
It was a white knuckling a little bit, but she did it.
She really did. And she absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
I love the comment you had. I think her and I can drive in the Rebel Rally.
Oh, I think so. We make good partners with so many things. We complement each other in a way that we could actually do the Rebel Rally. I don't know how well we would do, but I think as a team we would do phenomenal.
So who knows? Maybe some future glimpse.
There you go.
Something coming on. Who knows? So when it comes to the camping aspect of overlanding, what was the game changer for you?
So again, I don't like being dirty. I don't like being uncomfortable. I'm chronically cold. And I still don't like bugs. I still don't like creatures in the night. So I struggle with the comfort levels of all of that. So one of the things that helps alleviate a lot of those things is having one of those porta potties with the tent. because then I'm not navigating in the dark.
Yeah.
I might not run into a mouse. I might not, being might not. And so it just makes things a little bit easier for me. We have a pump with water,
Yeah.
so you can wash your hands and keep things relatively tidy. And so for me, that's the game changer, because otherwise, just being out there, I just feel dirtier and dirtier as time moves on, and
Yeah.
it's more and more uncomfortable. And so the longer we can stretch the time for, having a shower and using this porta potty in a way that makes you feel safe. Those creature comforts give me, the momentum to stay out longer
Yes.
and to do more things outside. So,
And that's, I get asked a lot on the YouTube channel and on Instagram and Facebook, what are the biggest things that you need to get outdoors with? Honestly, so long as you have a bed to sleep in and food to eat, get outdoors.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
You slowly realize once you're out there what you need, and in this particular case, a porta potty with a nice pop-up tent
Yes.
was exactly what we needed.
Completely mandatory for me.
And we're now looking at a hot shower to integrate into this as well.
Well,
Myself,
we could stay out longer.
Yeah.
The more those things creep in, the longer we can stay away. So.
absolutely. And staying out longer sometimes is a good goal to have. Getting out there in nature and enjoying it. What's one of the biggest things for you to enjoy when you're out camping?
Well, I do love the visiting with different ones. You meet some really amazing people in these communities, because everyone just wants to get away and actually experience that feeling of connecting.
Yeah.
And nature connects you, but also other people who enjoy nature connect you. And I'm finding that I'm meeting some people that are very special and inspiring. And those are the things I think people like me, at least anyway, strive to find in life.
Yep.
Is that inspiration and that momentum to keep you interested and wanting to learn more. And so I find that that's what's happened, is meeting people who off-road or meeting people who overland, or both. The community itself is inspiring to some degree, and it's fun to sit around the fire and tell jokes or have a little weenie roast at midnight.
Absolutely.
Those things
Yeah.
are fun to do, and it's nice to connect that way.
It is. And that's where I have to jump in and do a little bit of self-promotion. The Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, coming up September long weekend, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
It's going to be exciting.
It is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
It's one of the first times we're able to get together as a community and enjoy each other's company, get out there and see some cool stuff. We got a lot of cool vendors coming.
Oh, amazing vendors.
Yeah. So Joy's been helping me work on the expo.
Yes, we have a great team behind us.
Huge, awesome team.
So we're not alone, that's for sure. But we've had a lot of excitement, and it seems like every week something new and exciting is happening.
So just to highlight some of the cool stuff that's happening, we've got Man Tracker coming. If you've ever seen the Man Tracker series, we've got a contestant from the Alone series coming. He's going to come do some bushcrafting courses. That's going to be really cool. And one of your favorite Overland
Yes,
channels is
I'm
coming.
all giddy like a child. The Overland lady, I find her inspiring and motivating and fun
Yeah.
and real. And she's not afraid to be herself, and that is so enjoyable to watch.
Absolutely.
And, she does it by herself, and she's a young lady, and she's smart, and she's just got it all going on. And I feel like I'm meeting like this big superstar, and so I'm kind of cool, wigging out a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's going to be great.
No, it's going to be a really fun time. So the great thing about seeing Overland Lady come is, what are you going to ask her when you see her? Like, what type of questions do you want
I
to?
have a feeling I'm probably old enough to be her mother, so probably more like a motherly question. Like, I know that she's recently talked on her videos, a couple of them at least, about her parents, concerned about the different trek she took for her life. And so, more along the lines of, what's that conversation like when you tell your family
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing something vastly different than what you expected of me and what I probably expected of myself. You know, and, you know, does she, like, I know she's mentioned before, like, I watch her regularly, you know, she's mentioned before, she's, you know, does get nervous traveling alone, and I don't blame her, but more power to her. She just keeps going.
Yeah,
and that's great.
She's got some really, really good stories and some really good travels.
And she's a funny lady. Like, I just really enjoy her.
Yeah.
So I just hope to hear more of her stories and her perspective on things.
Awesome. And someone who's really taking a lead in this whole, I don't want to call it an industry, but it is kind of an industry, I guess,
well,
a bit.
It must be an industry, because there's an
Community?
expo full of people who, you know, supply all kinds of phenomenal product for this kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if it's not an industry, it's definitely a lifestyle, and you know, some people like her are doing it full time.
Yeah, yeah. And what an example. You know, she gets out and she does exactly what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And inspires other people to do it. You've inspired a lot of people.
Yes,
so,
exactly. Yes.
It's really, really awesome to see that. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's going to be a fun time. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in. If there's anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. I can't wait to meet more people at the expo.
Yeah.
Sit around the fire, have a little chat. It'll be a good time.
Well, it's going to be a blast. I hope to see a lot of you at the expo, and I appreciate you tuning in. I think it was awesome.
You think so?
Yeah. Hey, why don't you hit that like and subscribe button? Oh yeah, and that bell notification, because it's going to tell you when my next video, where we take an adventure on the Lost Knife Trail, comes out.